Hello everyone, hope you are doing great. My name is Saurabh Bharti, a Microsoft Dynamics 365 professional. On this YouTube channel, I offer my knowledge and expertise to all of you. Without further delay, let's begin the today's topic. So today we are going to talk about one of the automation process in Microsoft Dynamics 365, which is collection process automation. Now, before we start about Microsoft Dynamics 365, how it works, right? Let's understand why collection process automation is required. So, organization often spend significant time researching aged balances, reports, the customer accounts, and their open invoices to learn which customer should be contacted about an invoice on an account balance, right? Now this whole process takes a lot of time from the collection agents, right? Because they have to communicate about their about the customer's past due balances, resolve the invoice disputes, right? Now here comes the requirement of the collection process automation, which lets you up a strategy based approach to your collection process, where where you can just set up all these collection activities consistently by providing the customized email reminder or the program process for sending the collection letters to your customers for their outstandings. Now, if we talk about the collection process automation in Microsoft Dynamics 365, this whole process explains that how it works end to end. Now, first thing which we need to do in Microsoft Dynamics 365 is to configure the collection process setups, where we define the different types of rule, what type of activity we want to perform. Do we want to generate the collection letter? Do we want to generate the email? Do we want to generate a activity, collection activity, right? Then we map all these collection process setup to our process automation, where we define the frequency, on what basis we want to generate these activities, how when it should be generated, right? And then we also have to make sure that we initialize the process automation so that system checks that whatever we have configured for the process automation, it is working fine and it is getting picked up based on the schedule which we have defined. Once that is done, based on our frequencies, system is going to run the automation, and if there are customers who falls under that criteria and there are different activities which are supposed to be generated based on our configuration, the system is going to generate those results. Post that, we can go and view and analyze the process automation output. Now, what are the outputs possible? There are three different types of output which are possible. Either you will be generating the collection letter as a result of this whole automation process, or you will be generating some business document, for example, the email, or you will be generating any collection activity as a result. Now let's understand how it will work in Microsoft Dynamics 365. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to navigate to credit and collection, and under the credit and collection we have the setup, and under the setup we have the process automation and collection process setup. So what we are going to do is that first we are going to set up the collection process setup. So we'll click on this. So this is the place where we can configure our collection process setup. So first thing is what we need to do is that we need to create the process hierarchy. The process hierarchy determines that what are the different types of customer and what range of the customers or the which customer pool we want to include in this process automation. Okay, so we are going to give some name here. So let's say we are going to run for the all customers. Now we need to map a pool ID to include that set of customers. So now we have one pool ID which includes all the customers. So we are going to select all customers here. Now there is one parameter which we have here is the quiet days. Now quiet date determines that do we want to send the collection reminder to our customer on a certain interval. So let's say today if I send a collection letter to my customer, And if I want to make sure that another collection letter or another collection activity should be generated only after 2 days, then I should enter the quiet days as 2 here. Is there anything which I want to exclude? So maybe I don't want to generate the collection activity through this process automation where the customer aged balance is, let's say, aged balance is less than uh, 10. uh, okay. Now there is another parameter which we have is the use prediction. Now use prediction is linked with our another process automation which we have, which is a customer predictions, right? This we will be take it up in any other block. Okay, for now I will go with a simple process hierarchy. Now against this process hierarchy what we have created, let's define the different types of action which we want to create. So for that you need to click on this process detail tab and you need to hit the new click here. Now let's say what we want to do is that we have three different types of action type available here. Either we can generate the collection activity, or we can generate the collection letters, or we can configure the email. So let's say we want to do a email notification for all our upcoming invoices to our customer as a notification, and then we want to generate the collection letters for all the past dues which our customer is having. So let's select the email here. So let's say we call it as a advance reminder. Okay. Now in this case, we can select which business document. So we can create our email templates. So, but when we want to send this, so we want to send before the invoice due date. How many days before we want to send? We want to send 2 days before, and it's a pre-dunning. Pre-dunning is kind of a advance notice to our customers for their upcoming due invoices. Okay. Now, who is the recipient? Now we can send this email to our customer, or we can generate this to our sales team who is responsible in following up with the customer. So let's say in this case we are going to send directly to the customer. Then we need to select what type of contact or the email address we should use for sending this email. So we are going to use the business contact type here. So based on this activity, now if there is any invoice which is upcoming due, right, system will try to send the email notification to the customer. Okay. Now let's say we want to add one more process here as part of this process hierarchy where we want to trigger the collection letters automatically. So let's say we want to say that this process details is collection letter. Okay. We will select that the action type as collection letter. Now it is collection letter per customer. When do we want to send? In this case, system is going to use our actual collection letter configuration which we have defined, where we have defined that collection letter 1 will be sent when the collection letter 2 will be sent. The whole collection letter process which we have configured, right, that is going to be triggered here, and the recipient and everything is going to be picked up from there. Okay, so we are not going to define anything here. Now we are going to push this as a second activity. So this is going to be our second activity. Now one of the thing in the email is which we did not define and which we have as a capability in the system is to create the email template for this business document. So let's say there is a system has picked up by default one user requisition email template which is there in the system, but let's say we want to create our own template. So how do we do that? So we click on new here and we give the name of the email template. So let's say it's a collection letter CL. So we give it as a collection reminder, let's say, not a letter, collection reminder. What is the language which we are going to use? We can define that. Who is the sender? So let's say accounts@usmf.com. Sender email, I will put it same. Now, when we will process this automation, this might not trigger the email, and for a simple reason, because we don't have the email parameters configured in this environment. Now once this is done, we'll click on OK. So now this has been added here. Now if I want to go to the details of this email template, I can go here. I can define that what subject I want to have as part of my email, right? So let's say it's a invoice reminder, right? So I just set up this. Now here I also have an option where I can define the email body. Like if you are aware about that, how the email templates are configured in Dynamics 365 for the workflows you would have done earlier, right? Similar way we can define the email body here for these reminders as well. Now, one of the things which you would require while defining these email body is the placeholders. So what if you want to generate the email body with the customer information, the customer account, invoice amount, or invoice number, right? So how do you define those placeholders? So for that, what we need to do is that we will save this template. We'll go back to our setup process. Now here, if I come here, I have one option which is email template map setup. Here I can define all my fields which I can use for defining my dynamic content for my email body. So let's say if I select here, I want to use the customer account, right? So I can filter here as account. So let me apply a filter. So let's say I want to use the customer account. So I will select the just a minute. So I can add this. I can add more fields here. Let's say if I want to have something from the customer transactions, and that can be, let's say, the amount. So I can have the amount here. I want to have, let's say, the invoice number to be printed in the email body, right? So I can have search for the invoice here. So let's say I can have the invoice number. So now I have all these email variables available. I can use them in my email body, which the template which I have created, and then system is going to use that, and then system is going to, whenever system is going to trigger that email, this is going to have all these variables which we have defined here. Okay, once this is done, right, we can close this. And now we can go ahead and configure our process automation. So we'll go to the process automation here. And we are going to create the process automation schedule here. So we click on the collection process automation. We select the company here, create a series. We define the name here, that what name it is going to have. So let's say it says collection process automation, right? And this is going to be for all customers. We can define the time when it should run. So let's say if I want to define the time here, let's say I think this is going to run 1 hour behind my current time. So I can have this is defined at 18 and let's say 45. Okay, so this is going to do that. The start date, end date, what is the repeative frequency which we want to do, the daily or once or the weekly or monthly, right? So all these things we can define. We can set up the alerts which we want to generate when the process has ended, or do we want to have the email notification, right? So all these things we can configure here. There is the next process. When we click on this, we can see that what we have configured in the previous step, right? That configuration is inherited here. Each and everything is here available for us. Now, if you want to do anything, any modification, we can do it here as well, and then finalize our configuration. Once this is done, we are happy with this thing. We are going to click on the next, and then this is going to give us some simulation for this process automation. So let's say if you want to we want to see that if we select this process, right, the hierarchy which we have created, how many customers are going to fall under this, right? So this is the list of customers who is going to fall under this process. Similarly, we can select any customer and see that is there anything which is going to be generated for that particular customer. So it's kind of a simulation which we are doing before running the process automation. Once this is done, we can click on the finish. And now we can see that the the upcoming scheduled process is visible here. So it is under the scheduled status, right? Now what we need to do is that we need to make sure that the process automation batch job is running. If it is running, it is fine, but for a safer side, you can click on this initialize process automation here, and this is going to trigger your process automation batch job. Now we need to make sure that our batch job is running, right? So we can navigate to the batch jobs and check whether the batch job is running for this or not. Let's wait for our batch job to run, and we can check that the status is going to change from scheduled to executing or the executed. So let's wait for the time being. When now we can see the batch job is executing. Let's wait for this to finish it off. Now we can see that our batch job is completed and the process automation is ran completely. Now if you want to view and analyze the results of this, we can click on the view process history here. This is one approach to view the transactions, and there is another approach is we go back to the setup which we have done in the step 1 and view our results there. So if we click on this view process history here, it is going to tell us that what are the different collection letters and things which it has generated based on our configuration. So if you see, it has got the error for the email. If you want to see the error, what error it has, it is saying that the authentication is unsuccessful, which means like as I indicated that I do not have the email configuration in this environment, and due to which it did not trigger the email, but it tried triggering the email here. But apart from this, if we observe that it has created the different collection letters for different invoices which was possibly due and which were possibly past due, right? Now, if you want to further see that what are the different collection letters system has generated, right? We can go back to our credit and collection, and we can go to collection letters here, and we can see that what are the different collection letter journals which we are having. So if I click on this, and if I'm going to sort by today's date, I can see that there are number of collection letters which are generated, and there are different types of collection letters. So there is a collection one which has been generated. There is a collection letter one which has been generated. So it depends on it depends on our collection letter configuration which we have done already in the system, that what is the fee which we are applying, at what time the collection letter 1 should be generated, collection letter 3 should be generated, right? So it all depends on our basic configuration. The collection process automation is just automating that process instead of we going and manually triggering all these collection letters. If I just want to check quickly that what configuration which we had, so if we can go to credit and collection, and if we see the setup collection letter sequence, this will have the collection letter sequence defined, that how it should be generating the different collection letters and what fees it should be applying. So if you see the collection letter 4 has the fees 50, and it has a criteria of minimum due amount is 100, the due days are 10. So based on our basic configuration, the traditional configuration which we have, right, collection process automation is utilizing that and triggering all the collection letters automatically, along with the different activities like business documents, or you might have certain collection activities generated as a result. Okay, so that's it for today's blog. If you enjoyed the content, I request you to like, share, and subscribe. And that concludes today's video. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. And thank you for watching. And until next time, thank you.